Welcome, folks. Another edition of one of our companies. New list. Dave here with DPSIL. We just had some news we're going to update you on, and go ahead and give you some update on what has been going on with the airplanes. Because, well, we had some big to-dos going on here recently. For the most part, we got most of the rest of the planes aligned that we needed to get aligned and renamed. Basically what that affects is a few of the planes are slotted into where they need to be. Squadron alignments have occurred. Not all of them, but most of them. Case in point, Banshee, after having been found what it was, what it is doing, we know that it is now probably at least the Type 3, if it retains a Type 3, if it becomes Type 4, which is probably in the works, as it's actually already slotted into the variants page. Type 3 simply actually had the folded leading edge. Type 4 is going to be the one that actually cuts that off. So we're looking at Type 4s being the Latro trainers, as they seem to fly a lot better when thrown lightly. And if matters not on the range, of course. So Banshee is that trainer. Type 3, unknown at this time where it's going to go. It may stay the same. But that being said, Banshee does have that role. Goblin has now switched to the close air support, close range support role primarily, and slotted into all the squadrons as need, has seen fit. Furthermore, Wasp, as we have designated them already to be fighter bombers, in lieu of making the small ones, the regular size ones, which these were, obviously it's a smaller plane even than Banshee almost overall, Wasp has changed its name to Fury in lieu and taking the fighter bomber role, and anticipating that these smaller ones may in fact actually go and become something else. Wasp will retain the name for the small ones, but right now all of them are known as Furies. The big ones for fighter bombers are definitely Furies. It will remain to be seen if the small ones will retain the Wasp name, if they gain a role, or if we just stick with the larger ones. Most other aircraft have stayed the same. I don't think there was any really major other shakeup other than we did do a couple of reserves. Well, I guess it didn't really change much. The Airlift 3s and the Bomber Phase 3s, Airlift Phase 3s and Bomber Phase 3s still in there. Nova's still in there. We did do a couple of the shakeups to that, but we'll probably bring that about in Wednesday's main IVPAC show. So for right now, we're going with this. Fury changed names. There was another name change, and I had to bring that up. Oh, bloody ass. I was ready for this, and then I wasn't ready for this. You'd think I'd be on top of stuff like this. There was another name change. Diamant held on to it. Diamant has been questionable basically since I've held on to it. I wasn't been sure if I'm actually going to call Diamant a Diamant or not. But we did sit down. We were holding on to all of our info and debating on whether or not that plane actually really was going to be Diamant. So far it stayed. Fury changed, obviously. There was another one. Oh, that's right. As we know, Petrol and Cutlass were retired in lieu of Supernova taking over their roles. Well, we're working on that one, but in lieu of that, since I never had a lead-in large trainer, the new Zephyr T5, part of the Windcutter family. Windcutter was, of course, the S1, Aero I2, Petrol C3, and Cutlass B4. Now the Zephyr comes, so basically the Windcutter line's continuing with the T5. In truth, it's not had its first flight yet, but it may just glean the aircraft out of the petrol and cutlasses. That remains to be seen. There's been talk both ways. Don't know how that's going to play out yet. So, again, we shall see. Nothing else major changed other than those. Those are the two big ones. So there's no real official rollout on Zephyr, nor will I know if there's going to be, other than the fact that nothing called a Zephyr has rolled out or flown yet. So I just know that that's going to happen, and that will be the new large trainer. We have slotted in the small trainer as well, which actually fills all of my IVPAC roles that are at least seen to be full expansion. I have not gone with the oversize or VIP airlift or the aero demonstration team. But the other, there was another name change. Forgive me. The other name change has been through 3 of them because we cannot seem to decide on it, but the X-Novolin, the X-Quasar, the X-Rapier is going to be called the Kestrel. That is locked in. Kestrel will be the lead-in fighter trainer, the lead-in small trainer. And applying that, that actually fulfills all of my roles and leaves a couple planes to go in the reserves, namely Nova. But again, we'll get into this Wednesday. But in the meantime, that was rather nice to see. So, I mean, it's kind of cool that we actually slotted those in. We need to get a Zephyr rollout. Kestrel can now be stationed at Maidenly Copeland IAB in Sumter, South Carolina, and get a dedicated training role. These are still semi-influx. We'll keep track of this as we fly some and maybe find out that the roles are covered better by certain planes. If they indeed are, maybe we will go back to some. Maybe these hybrids will get a chance. But as of right now, this is what we've got. Believe it or not, I'm subtly downplaying it, but it's big news. I hadn't had this in a long time. I mean, I've been playing without these 2 trainers and still waffling on exactly what Diamant was going to do and who's going to replace and blah, blah, blah. So this is rather cool. So yeah, pretty excited about that actually. I didn't anticipate this being so easy, but once taking a look at the sheets, modifying the sheets as I was doing, made it come to fruition. So, all well and good. Now, to the highlight of our show. I was asked, not too long ago, we were asked to put out a Nimbus. As somebody watched the old videos, some of our retro videos on Nimbus flights. And after details that you did not hear about because of the April Fool's Day debacle on the other channel, IVPAC's major channel, we were going to do a lead-in. I was thinking about doing how to build. Good thing I didn't waste my time. We were talking about Nimbus here, how Nimbuses basically are on borrowed time, as it were. They're limited amounts. These planes are most of them are built from what we call clipper paper. You may have seen these. They have a newspaper-like look and texture. The feel is thicker. If you had them, they're a thicker bond than the average notebook paper. No, Jesus, man. What the hell's wrong with me? Newspaper. These are like newspaper, but if you ever went to your mailbox, came out there and found sales flyers to furniture stores, movie stars, all this stuff, that's where these came from. And made exclusively of them. I don't know, like they have flown without this, but they really do like this. It's the size, it's the shape, it's the texture. So, this is what we've been using. This is what Sil has been using to make Nimbuses since the dawn of Nimbus 13 years ago. I was illustrating this on the show. This one being built April 24th, 2009. Plane hasn't even flown yet. It's already 11 years old. This one's in Pryfly, ready to go. Again, there are other ways to make it, and it does not need these sheets. It's beneficial if you can get these. But again, you may not want to, as it's obvious that like their age is going to show really quickly. Newspaper stuff doesn't last. That being said, of course, most of the Nimbuses in flight in my fleet are about this age and still flying comfortably. Hold their folds. As long as they don't get out in the daylight and constant humidity changing, they seem to be okay. You may be pleasantly surprised. Obviously, you can't make it out of true newspaper because newspaper is just not strong enough. But, so, this is a body. We're going to show you how to make it. It is a very simple design. It comes with some very good flights. You will be impressed by it. Well, at least this is to say, hopefully you'll be impressed by it. I'm not going to hold myself or you accountable for how they fly. I know how they fly in my context, and you've seen videos of how they fly. They're really pretty good. If yours does not fly this way, it's just due to different folds. Basically, it's just due to folds. So, what you want to do, you get out a sheet of paper. It's not perfectly square. It's close to perfectly square, but it's not perfectly square. What you're looking for is a 12.5 by 11.25 sheet. How you get it, totally up to you. I'm using a Chinese menu sheet of paper because it fits. I don't have too many of those lying around that are already folded, and I want to show you how to do these. So, I'm going to show you how to do these. I'm going to use a brand new sheet, and I'm going to fold it along with you so you get it. So, however it is you manage to find yourself a 12.5 inch by 11.25 inch sheet of paper, get one. Okay. Which again, if you'll notice, it's almost square. Not quite, but almost square. So what you're going to do, I swear to God, this doesn't look right. Every time I look at it, I'm like, this is not the right one. But this is the right one. Okay. So, and once again, I'm going to tell you, it's pretty simple. Some of you out there may have already, in fact, flown it, of course. That's not exactly a footnote, but, I mean, it's truth. It's new to, it may be new to you, maybe old to you, but if you've done it, good for you. Here's how we do it. So, you take it, landscape, fold. You're going to start with your landscape view, landscape fold, and folding it over in half. Like you didn't see that coming. Keep your creases nice and sharp. Use your fingernails. Try to even it out as much as possible. That's, of course, due to your sheet. But you do have to check out the imperfections in sheets that you get, of course, because, I mean, just like humans, they're made to flaw, so sheets can be different. Doesn't need to be perfect. Come on, man. When you made them when you were younger, you didn't care if they were perfect or not, but they flew, didn't they? Okay, so, believe it or not, you're about a third of the way there already. Alright, now, almost basically the most important part of the plane. To get the shape that you're looking for here, and you see it's got a little bit of a delta diamond going on in the back. To get that shape, it's really basic. So what you're going to do is, doesn't matter which side, obviously, but you're going to fold it all the way down. You're going to try to bring, like your first fold down here by the nose, you're going to try to bring it down almost there, almost to the tip. So bring this down, and then you're going to shoot this one out, and obviously you're going to try to create a little bit of a delta diamond. It's kind of important to hold this out here for your future winglets or anhedrals. I call them anhedrals, you may call them winglets. So basically, you're kind of trying to gauge it with your hand, and once you've got it, commit to your fold. Okay, so you got that. Down across, bam. Okay, so you see where we did that. And you fold in half, you're folding it onto the outside. You almost have to fold it onto the outside because, of course, you can't send it through the bottom fold. Again, fingernail crease it, make it nice and crisp, and flip it over so you can repeat on the same side, the opposite side, and make the same fold. Keep it crisp. This one will not care. There will not be a lot of structural tension. There will not be a lot of force. And even if there is, you can play it out of it. And of course, the thing is, if you're using a regular sheet of bond paper, of anything like this, notebook paper, worksheet paper, in this case, Chinese menu, it's going to be crisp. Crisper than the original newspaper style because there's only so crisp these things can go. It's like construction paper. in point of fact, you may be able to do it out of construction paper. Okay, so your next shot is to fold. Sorry, I'm reviewing some thing in the background here. I'm trying to see exactly how that would actually come about if we did it the opposite direction, but it seems to come out an awful lot. But that's okay, because it doesn't matter. So what you're going to do now, for real, it's freaking weird. Forgive me, people. I'm actually second guessing myself over here. I don't know why. It's not like I haven't done this before many times. That is why, because it is so big. So when you take it, when you look at it, yes, I can afford to do this. This is my plane. That is not how. That would be this fold here, coming across this side. I still think that's too much. There's no way that. Like I said, I'm trying to compare to the old original ones. And you know how you build some of your planes and you never get the same plane twice? This is a prime example of that. Basically, I think this should only be to like here. But hey, whatever. I mean, we're just trying to get the plane built, right? Okay, so you got your fold? Everything looking all hunky-dory here? Yeah? Okay, so, your next fold, what you're going to do is, you know what, I hate to say something like this, and I'm going to make this a little bit different because this is not going to turn out the way I expect it to, because I'm pretty sure this is too big. I'm fairly certain this is too big, so we're going to do something a little bit different here. What we're going to do, so you're going to need a ruler. I know scaling these things is such a pain in the ass. That's why they never turn out right. And this is why I like to use these sheets. Because whatever it is with these sheets, I always get it right. No other sheet gets it right. I'm serious. I have this problem. This is why these papers are the only ones ever used. So, what we're going to do, something unusual, something I don't usually, would you stop? Something that we don't normally do. What we're going to do is, we're going to cut some of this off. Because I'm fairly well certain this is just too damn big. I'm going to show you something. This is actually part of the constructive process. And this is why I'm glad you guys are seeing this. It's not all roses when you try to build these things properly. Okay, so actually, I guess to be totally fair, to be totally honest, what we do is we take this thing and we fold it backwards, because this is the fold that we're mimicking right here. Okay, so if you look at this, so you got your plane. And it basically is the same, isn't it? Forgive me. I'm just a stupid head. Okay. Yeah, I'm being stupid. Alright, just throw all that out. I'm being stupid. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm forgetting I gotta put one important fold in first, and that's why it's getting gay. Alright, so. You got your folds, right? Are you with me, people? Sorry, I'm not trying to put you to sleep. Okay. What you're going to do is take the one side, just the one side. See this? You're just taking the one side. You're folding that up along the line that you folded previously. That first fold, your first landscape fold, which is going to turn out to be the keel of the plane, the fuselage. You're going to take and fold this triangle up this way. So it is like perfectly parallel, as close to possible if you want, to the bottom of that. Okay, and repeat on the same side, on the opposite side, so the folds match. Here, you always want to try to get the ones outside on this end folded, because that makes your wings the same size. Okay, so see, we're still maintaining that bottom fuselage crease. These run with it. It is perfectly aligned. I know, I flipped it. I'm sorry. That's the bottom, sitting flat on it. It can sit the way it is if you folded it right. So. You got those there, you got those there, you're good, okay? Now, What you need to do is unfold it so that you're starting to look at a plan form of the plane starting to take shape. Okay. Then, now it almost looks too small. Then you have your outs here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take them and fold these out. Basically, what you're trying to do is get the outs so that they are tight here and out here. What you're basically looking for is something a little different. This is going to be the shape of your 4 winglets that they actually have, and it can dictate the shape. Basically, you're trying to get them somewhat large, somewhere in the neighborhood of 3/4 of an inch. So when you fold, your folds go this way, you're folding back in. So however you want to do it, but again, tight near the tip and then out here. So say, all right, looking at that, it looks pretty good. All right. Hard to tell because of the way I've got it, but let's see here. I'll measure it for you. It does look like it's about right. It'll work. I'd actually rather it to be a little bit further out, so I'm going to adjust it. But again, okay, what you're shooting for again is this fold here. The fold on this thing does start tight near the tip, and then you're trying to fan it out somewhere in the neighborhood from 3/4 of an inch from this wing leading edge to where this canard is going to be. It's not exactly a canard. Basically, you're trying to form your winglets. This plane does have winglets. Okay, there, that makes me happier. All right, now you can reverse your fold, the original fold. This one time here, you can reverse it, so you can try to duplicate your fold that you're just making now. I always try to make the folds the same as possible. For God's sake, people, crease them. You don't plan on unfolding these. Makes it nice, makes it tight. Doesn't make you look like an amateur. Of course, it's not necessary, but I mean, for those of you out there on the younger set, you obviously don't have to do it. But if you want it sharp, you want it nice, you want it tight, you want to do that. Okay? So there. You got your basic form. Now, tip here. So you should be looking at that. Got this on the outside. Got this on the other side. These are folded in. It should be straightforward. Rewind it if you have to. Okay, so you're looking at it. And the inside fold, these are to the inside. The folds you just made are to the outside. Okay, you can, at this point, I almost recommend it actually, take a small piece of tape. Doesn't have to be big. I use about a half to a 3/4 inch piece. Put it right at that corner here of the fold. This little corner here, you're going to want to tape that down. It has to be. Nimbus doesn't mind, but it has to be taped down. We're not looking for perfection. I did not measure that. It's just basically so that you cover the back end and that side. So there's a little bit of overhang there. I'll show you on that. The tape is, there you see your fold line there. Tape is off the back of it and off the bottom of it. It's just holding that down. It's basically so you don't have to worry about this poofing out or missing the fold when you do what you're about to do, which is create the nose fold. Now, nose fold, that's basically, we'll go with somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 to 2 1/4 inches back. Now, I'm only measuring, again, like, if you were to do this on your own without my guidance, or if I were to do this without showing you, there'd be no measurements. Understand this. I'm just giving you measurements, so you got a basic idea, and you're basically making the same plane that I am. So, taking it, I'm doing 2 inches, for example. I'm going to do a little bit over 2 inches. I said 2 1/4. We'll put it here. Hey man, it's as close to 2 1/4 as it gets. Alright, come on. I'm not going to scrimp out. We're going to say what we said, and it's going to be 2/4. So, 2 1/4 inches. Why does that look so weird? It's looking kind of strange, people. I'm trying to line it up here, okay? Trying to line it up. Trying to line it up. I guess I could bust up my handy dandy. Any way you do it, you're folding it back 2 1/4 from there. But I mean, if you measure it, well, that's 2 1/4. Okay. You're just trying to make it straight. You know what I'm saying? Do it however you will. God, this thing's too long. Anybody got like a 3-inch ruler out there? You know, they sell those rulers that are only half a foot. Perhaps it's time to invest in one of those. Okay. Now, of course, I'm, like I said, measuring it. There's no reason to measure it. But of course, basically, you're just folding it straight to the back. So, once you get that, you fold it to the inside. This is your inside. You could fold it to the out, I suppose. But your center line fold will keep you honest. You'll know when you've got it. And it will start to want to poof here. So, again, you're creasing. Practice your creasing. And unfold and refold as you need to get it back. Because you will be able to take the creases back out. And you're almost home. Alright? So, you got your nose fold in there. You can fold it back together. Make sure you take any poofiness that has started to form out. There should be a little bit here. There's probably a little bit of it here. You'll be able to play it off. Okay, so now that you've got it like this, I'm going to put some winglets on it. Anhedrals is what I prefer to call them, of course. And because its role in my fleet is a light transport, they are folded straight along the body line. So let me go straight down. They are about, I don't know, perhaps 1 1/4 inches deep. They will dictate how your plane flies, so you want to keep track of them as you fold them, and you can make adjustments. I recommend not making the adjustments. I recommend going ahead, and if you want to see different things that it can do, making different ones, because I do find, and you will find if you have been flying around a while, that too many folds on these particular items can create a whole different plane on you really quick, and you may not want to do that. You may not want to take different folds into these anhedrals and create different planes on them. They just don't, the folds don't agree too well too often. The more you put on them, the worse they are. I'll measure them so I can be exact for you guys. These are, yes, 1 1/4 inches. I was right. Hey, look at me. Know what I'm talking about. Hey, I know how to build my plane. Huh? Some people can't say that. Okay, now what I'm going to do, because I'm about to form the wings and stuff like that, this is my plane, I'm going to code it while it's like this. They're easier to code while they're like this. If you guys code, I'm in IVPAC, I have to code mine. These are, I consider these, obviously, if you will, combat capable, but I at least like putting the dates on them. I'd like to know when they're made, so I know how old they are. And I'm doing it on the wrong side. If you throw right-handed, I like to see all the pertinent information when you're ready to throw it, so you're holding it this way, so you can read it right this way. On the other side, I like to flip it, because a lot of times you take the pictures upside down of a plane so they don't fly off. Because if you leave a plane outside like this, when it gets under it, it's going to throw it. But if you leave it upside down, chances are it won't. So I make all the writing on the other side big, so when you take a picture, you can see it. You do it your way, I do it mine. So anyway, let me code this. Today is April the, I have to check. I like being official. It is still April the 13th for another 8 minutes. So that counts. Put the IVPAC symbol on there because it will go into IVPAC service. Okay. I only need to do it in one spot, although I guess for upside down on the other side. Don't know where it's going and don't know what number it is, so can't put the other pertinent information on it. And you guys are going to throw my numbers off by building these. I love to hear you tell me about which ones you built and how they fly. And please send me a video, send me a picture. So we're almost done. Okay, so now we're going to form the wings. And again, being a transport, expecting these to fly as straight and flat as possible, we expect the wings to be as straight as flat as possible. So basically, you're just going to take that wing and fold it straight down. This is a relatively high fuselage for planes of my size, and my type. So basically, you're just trying to follow your rudder line back there. What you're looking for is probably somewhere in the 1 inch. I guess to keep it simple, what you should say is you're probably trying to duplicate the depth of the fold that you made for the anhedral. You want them to be each deep, so you're forming like the box form there. You're going to have to work the nose a little bit. The nose is not going to want to cooperate. Do what you can. These planes are usually bigger and little, they can take a beating to a degree. So they glide, they're gentle. Obviously, flip it over, duplicate your fold. Some people argue this being the most important fold is your second wing. I tend to believe that because you have an offset wing. If you make it asymmetrical, your plane is obviously not going to fly the way you want it to. So, but it's harder to say what you want to pare down and match. Do you want to match the wing lines on the outside? Or do you want to match the wing lines on the inside? I've actually seen both schools of how people try to fold that. Basically, I kind of like trying to match the wing line at the base, at the root, because you can most likely cut anything off on the outside that you need to. It's not the greatest of terms, but it works.
I hate that. You get frustrated with little bitty tips like that, but whatever. And there we go. So,
yes, my fuselage is 1 inch deep, so my anhedrals are a little deeper. Well, that's okay. And then the final touch, the actual canardlets that you're going to put on here, they're straight as well. Trying to follow the keel of the fuselage that's right in front of you here. You'll see that. So you see this, you're going to try to make that fold match. And you don't want them, you're capable of folding them a little bit deeper, but you don't have to. You're just trying to fold them basically to where that leading edge of the wing and the trailing edge of the canard meets. Right in there. And then going straight forward. At least as straightforward as you can. And this is, I don't have to stress to you how important that is to make those meet, because, again, Nimbuses have almost never had a problem with this, but the potential for having to put, as we call the new technology, the floating rudders on these is great, because you have 4 vertical surfaces. And if any one of them conflict with the other 3 or 2, pairing is not so bad, but if one conflicts with the others, you're going to have a bad day. The plane's just not going to fly the way it should. Okay. And then, undo your creases. Take your wings out. Take your anhedrals out. Take your winglets out. Yeah, I know I'm saying it and doing it backwards, but take a look at it from the front. Make sure she looks pretty straight. Boom. You will need, of course, I shouldn't do this because this will make her ready to fly, but I'm going to do this for y'all's benefit. You will need a piece of tape. It does not like to be free as much as I'd like it to. Well, okay, maybe it does. And you can test this if you wish, but I like to put the tape to hold it together. And she's done. She will sit upright, of course, because the anhedrals are a little bit bigger. There will be a little bit of a width to the tail there, but the nose holds. I have an extra crease in there because of that fold that I did to make this a little bit more broad. Sorry if this is a little bit more long-winded. I got trouble size with that other one, but you have a Nimbus. Should look like it's got horns. Should look like it's got tails. You should have a little bit of a tip peck there. You want to maintain that. They really like that. If you manage to triangular size it, like these are cut off, they don't like that so much. That aids in their stability almost as much as these do. Ironically, I don't think I've ever given these any other technologies, even though they could have like a split tip, a folded tip. The anhedrals could be different. I think they've actually been given the UFR, the upright fin from the rudder area. But that's it. Took a little bit longer than I expected it to, because this is a really simple design, but you can mess this up so easily, especially when it comes to those back there, or the tip of the nose. If you give it a little bit too little weight, too much weight, the fold is different. It just doesn't like to respond. They're funny like that, but and that is a Nimbus. And basically, what I didn't tell you is once you learn how to fly that, you now know how to fly and build the Cirrus. Because all the Cirrus is a scaled down version of that. If you have a plane, if you have a sheet that you can scale down, and keep this in mind, the ratio must be maintained. But if you can get a scaled down sheet, say of 7 1/4 by 8 1/2, that's what a Cirrus is made out of. Completely the same. This is just, it'll end up being a plane that's only this large. This is 10 inches long from tip of the nose to the rudder. Well, okay, it's a little bit longer than that. But if you count the little tips on the winglets here, those almost reach out to 10 1/2. And the width, now I'm going to be tricky to measure. I'm going to go ahead and say this because I'm going to measure it with this branched in here. The width is about, stop moving my hands, 6 3/4 to the back. You want the anhedrals to be basically about as a little bit cocked off. They're not totally straight down. The wings you can play with. You see me curling one. Basically, most Nimbuses seem to enjoy the wings straight plan to straight plan, so 90 degree, 90 degree. Because some of these you will find as you fold, they kind of want to curve up. You can allow that to happen, see what it does for you, but they seem to fly better when they're boxy. And you should be able to play with the creases to make the adjustments. Right now, this wing of mine really does want to curl up while this one's boxed, so this plane's going to bank. I'll try to prevent that. And one other thing that you will find that they like to do, if you look at the front end of it here, you can't it's harder to tell, but the leading edge of the winglet canard area, it does like to poof up. It does seem to want to arc up down to the wing. You can allow that to happen. Matter of fact, it almost is no way to prevent that. And again, Nimbus seems to enjoy that. So, winglets typically have to be straight at 90 degrees. The canard winglets. These are the true winglets for difference purposes. These are winglets. These are anhedrals. Hence, you know the difference. I always call these anhedrals. The ones back here are bigger than that. The winglets do. If you're making it like mine, they need to be 90 degrees. But again, I shouldn't say it like that. If you're making it like mine, make it like that. But if you want to make modifications, by all means, make some modifications and tell me how it does. Give yourself a test fleet. I highly recommend that. You cannot get all the tests you want out of one plane. Understandable, no two planes ever seem to be the same. But you're never going to find what you want to find out of the plane if you just make one. So that's it. That's a Nimbus. Go out there, get them flying. Let me know what you get. Throw them on the inside if you want. Bug your parents. Bug your friends. Bug your wife. They should fly really good. They should fly really straight, smooth glide. If not, maybe you found something more. But they're a good little plane. Sirius is even better. That's why it's my patrol fighter. Like I said, get them out there, get them flying, folks. And so ends my first How to Build and our news. Stay tuned on Wednesday. We'll be back with you with a major show. And keep them flying.